Welcome to Manna-Fest, hosted by international evangelist, teacher, and author Perry Stone. Enjoy unique insight into prophetic and practical truth. It's time to feast on fresh manna, so get ready to be blessed and encouraged. And now, here is your host and teacher, Perry Stone.
On the Manna-Fest telecast today, I'm going to bring you a right now word from the Lord. Many of you watching me have experiences in which you see things at night in dreams. You're not sure if it's a dream from the Lord, or maybe it's something you ate before you went to bed, or maybe a book that you read that's affecting your mind. But I want to tell you that in the last days, according to Joel chapter 2 and Acts chapter 2, when God begins to pour His Spirit out upon all flesh, He is going to accompany that outpouring with visions and dreams. It shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions. And upon my servants and my handmaids in those days, saith God, I will pour out of my Spirit. You have to understand something, that all throughout history, God has used the method of dreams and visions to communicate to men. You see, it was about 2,500 years before God ever gave Moses the Torah. Now, the Torah are the first 5 books that are found in our Bible. The Jews have a scroll called a Torah scroll that they use when they read from the Torah. It's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. That is the very first written revelation of God for mankind on the earth. The Torah gave laws concerning judicial practices, ethical situations, spiritual situations, and practical situations. However, there was 2,500 years when there was not a written record from God to man. Thus, the Lord used angels to visit men and women. We find, for example, that when it says that the Lord spoke to Noah and the Lord spoke to Abraham and He appeared to Jacob, many times it was through the method of an angel bringing a message, or an angelic being would appear in a dream to bring them a specific message and word from God. In every place that you find, especially when you read the book of Daniel, the book of Ezekiel, the story of Joseph, and the prophets of the Old Testament, you will discover that it takes the Spirit of the Lord coming upon someone in order for them to receive a true spiritual vision or a spiritual dream, and in order for them to properly be able to interpret the dream. So for the next few moments, I want to talk about some of the ancient visions and dreams which took place. Some of these things I'm confident that you've never heard. Others of these will be fresh insight to you that I want to share with you that I think you'll find very intriguing, because I certainly did. We know that one of the men who really heard from God and walked with God, his name was Enoch. We also know that according to Josephus, the Jewish historian, that one of the first revelations ever given to mankind was when God told Adam that there would be a destruction of the earth by water and by fire. Here's what it says. Josephus says, they were also the inventors of that particular sort of wisdom, speaking of the sons of Seth here, which is connected with the heavenly bodies and their order, and that their inventions might not be lost before they were sufficiently known. Upon Adam's prediction that the world was to be destroyed at one time by the force of fire, and another time by the violence and quantity of water, they made 2 pillars, the one of brick, the other of stone. They inscribed their discoveries on them both, that in case the pillar of brick should be destroyed by the flood, the pillar of stone might remain, and exhibit these discoveries to all mankind, and to inform them that there was another pillar of brick erected by them. Now this remains in the land of Syriad to this day. In other words, Josephus tells us that Adam was one of the first men to receive a revelation about the future. And God said, I will destroy the earth once by water and the second time by fire. Now we know the first reference to the water happened about 1,658 years or so after Adam. We also know that according to 2 Peter, that the elements one day are going to be renovated or purged by fire. Therefore, the fire will come in the future. There will be a destruction caused by fire in the future. Now we go a little bit further. That was the first first vision given to Adam from the Lord of the future. However, the seventh man from Adam, whose name was Enoch, we discovered that he walked with God, and when he was 65 years of age, God visited Enoch, and he had a son by the name of Methuselah. Now, the name Methuselah in Hebrew means his death brings or his death initiates. You see, Enoch, it was revealed to Enoch that something was going to happen in the future, and he named his son the name, when he dies, it will come. Methuselah lived to be about 969 years of age, and I did this chronologically. You can do this yourself by reading the numbers of the Bible in the book of Genesis chapter 5, 6, and 7, and 8, right through there. Methuselah died on the same year that Noah's flood took place. Now, this is what I believe. If you will go back and read the flood story, you will discover that the ark was completed and the animals were there, and it says, yet 7 more days, God said, I will cause it to rain upon the earth. In that day, a Jewish family mourned for their departed loved one for 7 days. I believe it's very possible that Methuselah died. We know he died the same year of the flood, but we believe that Methuselah died. And when Methuselah died, God allowed Noah 7 days to bury that righteous relative of his, and he waited for 7 days of mourning before bringing the flood. Yet 7 days, God said, I will cause it to rain upon the earth. Well, there is a scripture in the book of Jude. It's a very interesting passage, and here's what it says. Now Enoch the seventh from Adam prophesied of these sayings, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment on all, to convict all who are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have committed in an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Now, scholars will tell you that this quote comes from the book of Jude. However, from the book of Enoch. The book of Jude is quoting from the book of Enoch. Now, here is an actual quote of that verse from the book of Enoch, which was rediscovered in 1773. I quote, And behold, he comes with myriads of the holy to pass judgment upon them, and will destroy the impious, and will call to account all flesh for everything the sinners and the impious have done and committed against him. That's Enoch 1 and 9 in the book that was rediscovered in 1733. Now, one of the reasons we don't use these type of books in the Christian church today or consider them inspired today is because Enoch didn't necessarily write the book. Someone wrote it in his name but attached Enoch's name to it. However, it was known in the first century church and was quoted. So Enoch at 65 began walking with God because of something God showed him. God showed him a destruction was coming, and he named his son, when he dies, it will come. And Methuselah did die the year of the flood. Now, if we go from Adam to Enoch, let's go to Abraham now. Nimrod was the builder of a great tower called the Tower of Babel in the book of Genesis chapter 11, which is the same area where Abraham came from, which is called the Ur of the Chaldee. I say the same area, it's the same vicinity today in the country of Iraq is where it would be located. Now, there's a book that's mentioned 2 times in the New Testament. It's called the book of Yashar. Now, that book, again, was not known until it was rediscovered in scroll form in the 1800s in the desert. It was translated into the English language by a British scholar. And let me read to you what it says concerning Abraham. All the wise men and conjurers went from the house of terror. They lifted up their eyes toward heaven at night to look at the stars, and they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east and ran into the heavens, and he swallowed up 4 stars from the 4 sides of heaven. They said to each other, This only betokens that the child that is born to Terah, now Terah is Abraham's father, that the child that is born to Terah this night will grow up to be fruitful and multiply and possess all the earth, he and his children forever, and his seed shall slay great kings and inherit their lands. That's Jasher chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. So God told Abraham, remember this, to look up into the stars of the heaven, and he would see into the stars of heaven. That's how great a multitude that would come from him. So once again, we see where these particular signs that God is using, these signs or these revelations, early, way back before there was ever a Torah, way before there was ever a Scripture, he's using that to speak to the people and to give them insight and revelation. Now, in the days of Egypt, let's go forward. This is extremely interesting if you've never heard this. In the days of Egypt, Joseph eventually, now we're talking about Joseph, the son of Jacob, he eventually married the daughter of an Egyptian priest called Asenath, and that's found in Genesis chapter 41 and verse 45. He had a silver cup which was found in Benjamin's sack. I know we've already talked about that on our Holy Land tour with our people. And according to what the statement says in Genesis chapter 44 and verse 2, he was given this cup by Pharaoh in order to divine the future. Now, there's no record that Joseph ever used this cup because he was filled with the Spirit of God in order to be able to interpret the future, interpret these things.